Oh god, it is so hot. Okay. Yeah, we're gonna get started. Moment of truth. Hey. How you doing? No, I'm kidding. I got new fucking lights. It is fan-motherfucking-tastic. I got new lights. I'm happy. Real quick though, I gotta do some shit. Yeah, this is gonna save me a lot of trouble from now on. What the fuck? Alright. New lights, new stream. And we're gonna get started. Alright. Yeah, ooh. Okay there, buddy? Okay, we are not where we left off. I went ahead and grabbed my sea truck and headed over here to Phi Robotics for a minute because I wanted to get some more fucking, what was it? Snowstalker fur. And so far, I've been unsuccessful. So far. I need to build those things. Also, I made the hydraulic fluid thing, and then I put it in. But I haven't gone up there yet, so... Oh, no, wait, why can I not remember anything? I went up there, built, like, a tiny little base, and that's pretty much it. I came back down here to find more snowstalker fur because it snows hella up there. What? Where am I going? Snowstalker fur. It is nighttime. There's a snowstalker out here somewhere. I need to find your fur, sir. I'm backing slowly away from you like they told me to do with bears. And you are like amphibious / bear.
Dangerous weather approaching.
Oh,
Seek
cunt.
shelter.
Yeah, see what I mean? It snows hella up here, so I wanted to find some snowstalker fur to make the helmet. Cunt. I wonder if those will actually kill me. Fucker. Yeah, I wonder if those will actually kill me if I end up just walking right under it. Yeah, I'm gonna come back this way and then go to where I last found stuff. I need to look at a map. Glacial Basin, that's where I am. That's not how that works. Okay, so this is where I am right now. I think. Yeah, this is where I am. So, I think what I need to do is I need to go up this way and go in here. And maybe come out this way and find some more shit. Piece of non-existent cake. Cunt.
Dangerous weather approaching. Seek shelter.
Fuck off. Okay, I'm not sure how loud that is. Is that too loud? I'm not sure if that's too loud or not. What the fuck? I just gotta get my light, not you have. See, you have a stroke. I'm gonna go this way. Yeah, I'm gonna just wander this shit until I get spat out back in this direction. God damn it. Yeah, I did connect it, as you can see over there. But that is not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for other shit. Okay, I'm out here. I can walk into here. Then what else? Okay, daytime. Thank you. So that's where I just came from. So I'm going to... Ooh, titanium. I don't need titanium right now. I will take quartz though. Why do I need quartz? I don't need quartz. Piss off. Up here is, I think, where I went. Cool. That was a very delayed reaction there, buddy. Hi! Snow stalker fur, got it. Come give me, bitch. I'm out of here, cunt. See, I made a base at like the entrance to the ice spires, but then scary noises happened and I just left. Where the fuck did I come from? This isn't good. Where in God's name did I just come from? Up here. Yeah, it was up here. Yeah, I have no idea where I am on this map. Just so you know. You'd think, for being in the future, they'd have satellite fucking locationing fucking everywhere, but I guess not. Well, I guess in this case you wouldn't want anyone knowing your location because you don't like Altera, so I guess checks out, I guess. I don't know. I got monkey tags, sir. Yes, I do. But I'm playing Subnautica. Ow. That fell like 3 different times. Do I have any? Yeah, I do. Give. Why am I so goddamn cold? I do have monkey tag, yes. I'm playing Subnautica because I really like this game. And my arms are sore from playing it last night. So, can't do that, my friend. I keep forgetting to put your guys' names on lockers. I'll get you next, Ruddy. Oh no, I'm going in here. Do I have any more water? No, I don't. And I keep forgetting to fill my thermos. And I don't know how. Do I fill you from here? I did make a fabricator in my base up here, did I? Yeah, I did. Preston's leaf. Copper. I'm surprised that's still there. Wait, no.
Seek fluid intake.
Place I need to go. I don't have anything to fluid intake with. Let me see if I can find some bladderfish down here amongst the jellyfish. It's not what I wanted to do. Fucking, I'll just catch it myself. Yeah, there are. Yeah, I'm gonna actually try and avoid said huge ass jellyfish. Ooh, there's a anything in there? Peepers. I'm gonna catch you. Come here, bitch. Come here, bitch. No, come here. There's a thing down here. Ooh, I remember launching a thing. I need to cut this. I didn't. Whatever. Can I not cut this? Do I have to cut it from the other side? I don't get it. Okay, oxygen. Yeah, you're up here. Give. Alright, let's go to my base up here.
Seek fluid intake immediately.
Oh my god, that's what I'm planning on doing. Ugh. I want to get my thermos some stuff. It was over here, if I remember correctly. Yep. Where? Okay. I was wondering where my stairs went.
Welcome aboard, Captain.
Spicy fruit salad. No, thank you. How do I make this? Salt deposit, okay.
Vital signs stabilizing.
Here. Aha. Cold suit. There we go. 20%, 50%. So I'm 80% protected from the cold. Cool. Is there like snowshoes I could get? No? Just... I guess I'm technically wearing them. Whatever. Snow Fox jump module. I don't even have the fucking Snow Fox yet. How do I build the things that I need for it? There. Oh, that's easy. I just need magnetite, which I remember I could get from this fucking dude. Alright, let's find some shit around here. I remember hearing like hella noises, and I didn't like it that much. Is that another thing I need to get through with something? Silver copper. Something out here. Let's have a boink. It's dark. I heard like a snow stalker. I don't need that. You were broken. Layer of pressed diamond dust. Cool. Ooh, that looks pretty.
Dangerous weather approaching.
Ah,
Seek
cunt.
shelter.
You want my? Okay. See how well it works against heavy weather. Yes, that is a JoJo reference. Shut. Eat my ass. Hello, coffee shop. Of fucking course I am, Mikhail. Alright? What else do you think I'm doing? It's cold and nighttime. I don't like that. What the fuck? This was the shit I was telling you about. I don't like said noises. I don't like them. Fuck ass. I can make glass, but I don't think I want to. I can look out my window and see what the fuck that was. Make a window. Where is my builder? Is that like the ice worm? I don't remember it making that sound. Make noises. Seismic activity. Come on, cunt. Fuck me over. I don't know. I think it was the ice worm. Oh. I was correct. Looks like I was fucking correct. Okay, I don't remember it making that sound. I remember it more like a hissing noise. Like a snake or something. I don't fucking know. Okay, that slightly
Seek fluid intake.
changes things. Fucker, I just... You're testing my limits. That's what you be doing. You're testing my limits. Cunt. Composite plant pot. I'll put you there. And then put my marble melon inside of you. Put me small marble melon inside of you. No, that's not what I wanted to do. Can't do that. Can I make another one? No, I'm missing titanium. That wasn't that fun. I don't like that. I don't want to be here now. go look for titanium. I don't need snow right now. Remember there was like titanium over here. Silver, copper. Silver, copper. I need the fucking drill arm. So yeah, that wasn't fun. Okay. I don't know if he can reach me out here. I'm gonna be upset if he can. I'm gonna be fucking upset if he just comes darting through the fucking wall, just I'm going to just be upset. Like, I'm not even gonna, I'm probably gonna yell, but
immediately.
This fucking bitch.
Dangerous weather approaching. Seek shelter.
No shit. Is this water down here? Yeah, it is. Yeet. Sploosh. Now, what the fuck was that noise? Ugh. I hate it here. Titanium, I guess. Okay, there's a lot of jellyfish over here. That'll be all. Ooh. Bladder fish, you fuck. Oh, I saw another one. More veins. They look like quiche. There's another one. Right, honestly, I need to get more modules for my sea truck so I can start making more shit. I need to build more modules for this bitch. This isn't where I needed to go. I'm gonna die of fucking thirst. Ugh. So if that motherfucker is going to be just out and about like that, I don't know. I really want to build my snow fox, but now I'm thinking that's like not a good idea. Maybe.
Seek fluid intake.
Fucking hell. I know this is where I need to go. Ice worm can eat my dick.
Welcome aboard, Captain.
I need water.
Vital signs stabilizing.
There we go. Now I need fucking normal water. Need fiber mesh. Or not normal, I mean healing. Do they still have the medkit fabricator? No they don't. Recyclotron. I don't need the recyclotron. Jukebox. I can make a jukebox. I can make a coffee machine. That's what I need to do.
Ah, the sweet scent of dirty bean water.
The sweet scent of dirty. Ooh, I can put my thermos in here. Yes, cunt. Wait, I just drank coffee though. What the fuck is that supposed? You are useless. Alright, so now I guess we're walking. Because that's not cool. I should probably have my knife out. Shank this fucker. Which way should I go? That place just led back over there. So I guess I'm going this way. I don't like the fucking those things either. It's not fun. Scan this? No. I'm gonna stay close to the walls. I honestly don't know if staying close to the walls is a good or bad idea. I don't know. There's a snow stalker out here. You better run, cunt. It's not safe out here. God, you're fucking big. Oh. Well, he's fucking dead. Yeah. Oh no, he's not. Oh. Well, now he is. Okay then. Oh shit! My back pedal is strong with the force. I don't entirely know what you're trying to accomplish. There's a steam thing here, so I'm gonna be here for a minute. Ooh, I can see a thing over there, so.
Ready for my assignment.
Yes, you are, cunt. Ion cube. Ion cube. Not seeing anything else. Aside from quartz, but I don't need quartz. Alright. Alright, I'm out of here. Also put back on my shank. He wants to try and shank me, I will shank him. The cunt. You poor creature. He don't know. He don't even know what's coming. He wasn't ready. Oh, hello. There's a big one for prawn suit. Okay, hello. I should have probably brought my prawn suit then. Maybe that's actually not a good idea. Because I shouldn't be stomping around. It reminds me, what does this remind me of? There was this old creature in Subnautica.
Seek fluid intake.
That you used to be able to spawn in, but never actually got implemented into the game. And that was the sandworm. I'm pretty sure that was supposed to kill me. But I've been very lucky as of late with these fucking things. missed me. You're trying. Oh, cunt. I really wouldn't if I were you. Oh, god damn it. Why are you guys even living out here? That was most definitely supposed to kill me. Okay, now where do I go? Okay. Yeah, that I guess was supposed to kill me because it did. Huh. Okay then. Back here. I kinda needed to be back here. Thank you for my thermos. I don't know why it takes away H2O because it is water, but whatever, I guess. Huh. I still have the ion cubes. Cool, I guess. I'm gonna stay in here for a minute. Who the fuck is this? Okay, someone named Melissa just tried contacting me, and my name's not Ed, so yeah, I don't think she was talking to me. I will be right back. I'm gonna go ahead and grab my tacos, and I'll be right back. I am back. Alright, I'm back. Where is it? Okay. Alright. I have tacos. Cold tacos. My microwave is broken, so can't eat it. Can't heat it up. The rice is still fire though. Yeah, cold cafe Rio. A delicacy in like 0 countries. Cheese, queso, rice, and pico. Carne asada. It's fucking fantastic. Also, I'm working on a new cosplay. I just got these No. Fun. I got these. And if you don't know who this is referencing, shame on you. No, I'm kidding. Just look up Madness Combat. You will understand. Like, goddamn immediately. Alright. Let's get this shit back on the road. Ah, fuck. Yep, let's get this back. Still night. Still cold. Give me my Beto. It's not a Beto, it's a taco. Fuck ass. I'm starting to talk like fucking Parker. Ew. 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 Ah, fucker. I'm gonna go get some more fish. Before it turns daytime. Oh, well. Eat a dick. They know I'm fucking leaving and they're like, don't come back, dickhead. I'll fucking come back when I want, fucker. I'm having a never mind. I wanna go ahead and go get my prawn suit. No, wait, that would be murder because I don't have the drill arm. So that would be too smart, honestly. So what the hell am I gonna do? Isn't what I wanted to do. Oh. That again isn't what I wanted to fucking do. Get on the fucking... Get on the sea truck. Enter the fucking sea truck. Thank you. Ugh, cunt. You're weird. Yeah, I need to make the depth module for my prawn suit so I can go get the body cache and some other caches, mayhaps. And also, I actually looked up a guide. Apparently I did miss something over here. I did miss something. I missed, apparently, I think anyway, what I found wasn't the Omega Lab. Instead, I found just Marguerite's base. And I thought that's what she meant by she attacked some base. I thought that's what she meant, but no, apparently there's still some big-ass base down there that I need to find. That will mayhaps give me some more insight to where the fuck my sister is. Not my actual sister, but this bitch's sister. Also, apparently there are more upgrades to the sea truck, like the fucking... There is a defense system upgrade similar to like the sea moth defense system, where you blow it and it just makes everyone piss off. Yeah. It's supposed to be fun. I would hope it is fun. Also, I wanted to go back down here because I think, if I remember correctly, this is where I found those bunch of fucking diamonds. Okay, never mind, it wasn't this one. Yeah, it wasn't this one. Cunt. It sometimes has those growls like the sea dragon, and I don't like it. Pilot last known posizione. There's this cunt. So yeah, it told me to just look around for shit, and I'll eventually find something Altera. Here's something.
Warning, passing 100 meters. Oxygen efficiency decreased.
Aquarium module. That's something. And got that. What's in here? Looks like some more sea truck stuff. Sea truck horsepower upgrade. Alright. Ah, fuck, I need 2. Okay, but that's cool. That's cool, I guess. Architect body cache.
I believe if you search this area, you can find a component to help build my body.
Cool. That's 200 meters that way, though. I don't even think my seat or my prawn suit can go that deep quite yet. Yeah, I think it was over here where the Emperor used to be. But I guess it's no longer here anymore. Fucking stupid. Ah, there it is. I knew it. Told you there was some more shit. Oh.
Warning, passing 200 meters. Oxygen efficiency greatly decreased.
Ribbon plant. Antenna fruit. Antenna plant. I wonder if I can eat that. That gave me a lot. I'm gonna keep one of those because I think I can plant it. Got anything for me? Swim charge fins, I'll take it. Yeah, this is the Omega Lab. Bulkhead. Hydrochloric acid.
Warning, 30 seconds of oxygen remaining.
That's gonna be a pain in the ass. What are you? Can I scan you? No. Oh, I can scan some other things. Mayhaps. PDA. Focus the task. Okay, I don't care. Tech or control room. Ah! Water filtration. Fuck yeah. Ow. Fuck yeah.
Investigation notes. Omega Lab was first breached by heavy impact, perhaps from a sea track modified with some sort of battering implement. A localized explosive charge was then released and detonated from a distance. Lab equipment was damaged to the point of inoperability, and all live specimens were destroyed. No personnel was injured. Samples have been collected for analysis to determine whether any bacteria escaped. It is, however, unlikely. The heat of the charge should have boiled everything within a 10-meter radius.
Should. But why the fuck am I here? Should have boiled everything in 10 meters. But for fuck's
meters.
sake.
Oxygen efficiency greatly decreased.
Why am I here? That's like not smart. Ooh, vending machine, vending machine. That was another thing I need to make. The vending machine. Basic plant pot, what the fuck? Whatever. Single bed. Then.
Danny's not here, I'm afraid.
That's okay. It's you I wanted to see. What's that you're working on?
Just a sketch for a piece I want to make. I'm slacking off. Don't tell the boss lady.
I won't. It's beautiful. What is it?
I'm doing a series inspired by bacteria. Mutant beauty. Life, death, risk. You know, that kind of thing.
What's this one? It looks like Karab, but... Is this a mutation?
It's just an art project.
You know you're doing that thing with your neck, like when you're trying to bluff an alien intruder.
Right, fine. Fine. Had it lying.
Are you mutating Karab bacterium from the frozen Leviathan? Here? In this lab?
Please, Don't ask me any more questions.
I don't think I need to.
Sussy. No, I'm kidding. I really need my life to be ended for that. That's ooh, what's that? Aromatherapy lamp. I'll take it. Daniela's bed, or Danielle's bed. PDA.
I challenged your spy pengling to a foot race earlier.
Because you got tired of losing to me?
Ouch. What if I've been
Mug.
letting you win so I could see you smile?
Cute. But I don't believe it. There are easier ways to make someone smile.
Easier than losing a foot race?
Oh, I think you're a woman with many talents.
What are you implying?
The artwork that appeared in my lab the other day?
Oh, that. A study in Parhelion Red.
I assume you had something to do with that.
That depends. Do you like it?
It's beautiful. Like the person who gave it to me.
If I didn't know better, I'd say you were flirting with me.
Do you know better?
I don't know what I know anymore. Not when you're looking at me like that.
No, I'm kidding. That's beautiful. Beautiful love.
Warning, passing 200 meters.
But frankly, I don't give a
Oxygen
fuck because I
efficiency
want to
greatly
scan
decreased.
my nuclear reactor. Which I just now have. Okay, fuck yeah. Nuclear, what the fuck? Nuclear waste disposal. Gonna need that. Omega. That hurts. Floating this one.
Investigation notes. Omega Lab was first breached by heavy impact, perhaps from a sea track.
We've
That's
studied the
not what I
first
want.
Kara bacteria samples from the specimen. Results are promising. We were able to stimulate rapid multiplication of cells in a controlled environment, resulting in the creation of several different mutations with
Amazing.
potentially useful applications. Think of the possibilities. Life-saving treatments, genetic research. It could be a window to understand
Oh,
the
wait, I already
evolution
had
of
that.
life on this planet. The findings could move us forward by years. We recommend a wider study, using samples collected from a greater variety of sites around the original pustule. We trust you will provide the necessary security to do so. The Leviathan site must be protected.
Fucking with bacteria and viruses. Where the fuck have I seen that before? Every other zombie slash very large, tall women games. Never mind. Okay, yeah, ow, cunt. Ooh, there's an artifact over there that I most likely can't get to. Glow whale. Where the fuck am I going? I'm going this way. Not towards you, cunts. You do be speedy, though. They really do be speedy. Why can I easily fucking outrun these people? Not cool. For those guys, that is. I wonder if you can still ride these guys. That is awesome. I can still ride him. Fuck yeah. I mean, he wants to fuck with these guys. Nice. So mutating Karaf. That can only lead to one thing. Mutant zombies slash tall women that are somehow vampires. I don't know. I haven't played fucking Resident Evil Village. Okay, we're gonna go back to my sea truck now. Oxygen. Light. Where am I going? That place. I know there's a chalicerate somewhere over here. I don't really want to fuck with it right this moment. Okay. I was wondering why it was dark. Didn't have my lights on. Alright, I'm back, bitches. Gimme.
Welcome aboard, Captain.
Alright. What else? Okay, so I got hydrofluoric acid. And I mean polyaniline. High conductance polymer. Cool. I'm gonna make water, if you don't mind. I'm gonna make water. Also nuclear rod. I think I found uranium somewhere around here. I don't know. Schlorp. Where did I fucking have my builder? There it is. Also basic pot plant. Go ahead. Put you in there. And then Make another one of ye. Put ye. Can I not? Okay, I guess I can't. Okay, whatever, I guess. I want to make you. I don't have any more titanium. I'm gonna deconstruct ye for now. Ya cunt. I need copper wire too. Should have some in here. Oh, I don't, but I have copper. Whatever. It's aerogel. Fuck, I don't have that. I can go get the gel sacks for it, but I don't have aerogel. Light porous dried gel. That isn't at all what aerogel is. I don't think. It's supposed to be the lightest material on Earth. I'm gonna look up how to make aerogel. How to make aerogel. We're gonna fucking watch this, people.
This video has been sponsored by Raycon. Last year, I started getting really interested in aerogel, which is one of the lightest known materials.
Find out how to make aerogel.
There are many different types of aerogel, but the most common one is from silica, and that's what I have here.
Silica.
By volume, though, it's actually less than 1% silica, and over 99% of it is just air. This makes it extremely light, and when I'm holding it, I can almost barely tell that it's there. There are many potential uses for silica aerogel, but its simplest and probably most common use is as a thermal insulator. This is because it's mostly made of air, which in general is a good insulator, but the key part is that all this air is trapped in a network of silica. This makes it really hard for the air molecules to move around and for the heat to transfer to the other side. After watching a few videos about it, mostly by Veritasium, I decided that I had to try making it myself.
Who's this again?
On the surface, the general process was relatively simple, where all I had to do was make an alcohol-based gel.
Watch this guy.
And then dry it. However, the issue is that in practice, it's way more difficult, and getting even a decent quality aerogel is really hard. I'd never done anything like this before, but I had faith that I could do it. To start my mission, the first thing that I had to do was make the alcohol-based gel, which I thought was going to be relatively easy. However, that really didn't turn out to be the case. The first problem was that there wasn't just a perfect recipe for the gel, and everyone seemed to have their own slightly different way of making it. I wasn't looking for anything fancy though, and I wanted it to be as easy as possible, and it seemed like a recipe from aerogel.org fit that perfectly. The first chemical that I needed for it was the hardest to get, and it was something called tetramethyl orthosilicate, or TMOS for short. This is basically a liquid source of silica, and because of that, it's also really dangerous. My favorite thing about it is that it reacts with water and turns back into silica, and it can do this in both your lungs and your eyes. The best part too is that the particles form in the eyes under the surface, and they're way too small to remove, so it can lead to permanent blindness. For this reason, when I was going to be working with it, I'd have to be very careful and to only use it under a fume hood. This small bottle of it cost me about $100, and I ordered it from a chemical company. Now, the other things that I needed were methanol and concentrated ammonia. For the methanol, I just bought it from a local hardware store, and I got the ammonia online. With all the ingredients, I was now ready to get started, and the first thing that I had to do was make some dilute ammonia. The stuff that I had here was concentrated, so it was around 28 to 30%, but I needed it to be closer to around 0.1 or 0.2. To do this, I just added 5.4 mils of the concentrated stuff to a bottle and poured in a liter of distilled water. After this, I moved on to making the actual gel solution, and I added 33 mils of methanol to 2 beakers, and then into the one on the left, I also added 16.5 mils of that dilute ammonia that I just made. With this all added, I then busted out the TMOS, and I carefully poured in 33 mils to the one on the right. This gave me my 2 starting solutions, and to make the gel, all I had to do was mix them. So I turned on some strong stirring, dumped one into the other, and let it stir for about 30 seconds. It didn't look like much was happening, but there was a reaction going on, and the TMOS was slowly turning back into silica. At first, the silica formed as an extremely fine suspension of particles that were so small that they weren't even visible. During this phase, which was what I had here, it was still completely liquid. As more of it formed though, the particles would come together and form a complicated and fragile network of silica. This network would have a lot of extremely small pores in it, and these would trap some of the methanol and water. This would cause the solution to thicken and eventually form a gel, which is a mixture of a solid and a liquid. Before it became a gel though, I had to pour it into a mold, and I had less than 10 minutes to do this. One of the simplest ways that I saw was by Ben over at Applied Science, and he just cut the top off a syringe. This way, the extremely delicate gel could then be taken out of it by squeezing on the plunger. This all seemed to work okay, but my biggest issue with this method was that the gels were kind of ugly. The major goal of this project was to make aerogel in general, but I also wanted it to be as beautiful as possible. The ones that you can buy are always these nice cubes or well-defined shapes, and I wanted to get as close to that as I could. So I had to somehow come up with a way to do this, and this was the part that made making the gels a lot harder than I initially thought. This is mostly because the final gels are really delicate to the point that I feel like they could break almost just by looking at them. This totally ruled out using any of those soft silicone molds, and it also would just get stuck in any hard mold. So, I wasn't able to use any traditional mold for this, and I had to get a bit creative. I spent about a week trying out random things, and eventually, I came up with something that worked. It was also really cheap and easy, and what I ended up using was a plastic cookie cutter that I got from Amazon. I think it might have been okay on its own, but to make sure that the gel didn't stick to it, I sprayed it with a bunch of silicone lubricant and wiped it down. After that, I put it onto a piece of glass that I took out of my IKEA display cabinet, and I made a border around it with duct tape. With the tape in place, I took away the cookie cutter, and I used a dollar store cheese grater to shred one whole dollar store candle.
Cool. Why?
I then melted all the wax by blasting it with my heat gun, which is basically an overpowered hairdryer. When it all seemed nice and liquidy, I used a ruler to scrape off the extra stuff, and the goal was to make a layer about the thickness of the tape. This part was always a little bit sloppy, and I usually had to scrape it and remelt it at least a couple times. It didn't have to be perfect though, and all I wanted was for the glass to be covered in a somewhat even layer of wax. When I felt that I had this, I dropped the cookie cutter onto it, and I put a dish on top to help keep it in place. I then shot it again with the heat gun to really make sure that the edges were sealed, and I let it sit there for 30 minutes for all the wax to harden. At this point, it still might not make sense how this was all going to work, but I promise that it will make sense in a few minutes. Also, just to be clear, this was all done well before even starting to make the gel solution, because like I said before, that starts to harden in less than 10 minutes. But now, cutting back to the gel solution that I made, it had only been a couple minutes, and I started filling the mold. I found that the best amount to add was 10.4 mils, and I did this as fast as I could, and then covered the whole thing with a dish. As the reaction continued, it would cause things to slowly heat up, and without a cover, the gels would all dry out and crack. With the dish though, the methanol vapor was kept inside, and this problem seemed to be avoided. What I had to do now was basically just wait for it all to turn into a gel. This usually took around 10 or 15 minutes, but just by looking at it, it was very hard to tell when it was ready. So, I came up with a very scientific method to figure this out, where I would occasionally just punch the table and see how it shook. I also found that it was just good to punch the table in general, because even early on, it helped release some bubbles. Eventually, around the 10-minute mark, when I would hit the table, it looked pretty solid. When I saw this, I would usually give it a few more minutes, and then I would take off the dish and add some more methanol. This had to be done quickly though, because a lot of the methanol had vaporized, and there wasn't much of it left on the surface. Right now, they were all still way too fragile, and if I tried moving them, they would probably crack and fall apart. So I let them sit there for another 10 minutes, which gave more time for the TMOS to react and for the gels to get stronger. After that, they all looked good to go, so I took away the dish, and now it was time to see why I put this whole weird setup together. I first added some more methanol, and then I carefully pulled on the corner of the mold, and I cracked it away from the wax. I then peeled off the rest of it, and I was able to completely separate it without putting any real strain on the gels. The gels were all still technically in the mold, but there was now no bottom, and I could easily get them out without damaging them. All I had to do was push on them a bit, and they slid out really easily. They were all dropped directly into a bunch of fresh methanol, and I went back to making some more gels. However, this time, I didn't just use the same mold again, and I instead used a hexagon one. To set this up, I started by adding a bit more wax, and then it was pretty much the exact same as before. Hexagon ready, I cracked them off the wax, and I added them all to the square gels. What I had to do now was let all these gels soak in this methanol for at least a day, and then swap it out for some fresh methanol. With this setup, it was thankfully quite easy, and all I had to do was lift this strainer and drop it into a new dish that I had already filled. I've seen a lot of people do this by individually moving each gel, but I don't think that's the best method. I've mentioned a few times now that they're extremely fragile, and I feel that this would almost definitely damage them. In my opinion, using a strainer here was very important, not only because it made it way easier and I can move them all at once, but it also was a lot nicer on the gels. As the gels sat there, the water that was in them was being taken out and replaced by methanol. The main goal was to replace all the water with methanol, but this process was unfortunately very slow. It would take about a week to be done, where every day or second day I would lift it out and put it into some new methanol. This part of the process was definitely the most wasteful, and just to make these gels, I had to use about 10 liters of methanol. There wasn't much way around this though, because I had to make sure that there was absolutely no water left. I also do plan to recycle all of it by distilling it, but still, it was a lot of solvent to make such a small amount of gel. After letting them soak for about a day, I took out one of them to have a closer look at it. When I started this project, I was really hoping to make gels that were completely smooth, but the surface of this one was a bit rough looking. This happened because when I was making it, I added the extra methanol a bit too early, and the surface hadn't completely hardened. This was a bit disappointing, but it also didn't matter too much, and it shouldn't be noticeable in the final aerogel. After this, I took a look at the hexagon one, and I thought that it looked pretty good. However, I apparently squeezed a bit too hard on it, and it broke and fell back into the methanol. The whole gel making part was pretty much done, and all I had to do was swap out the methanol a few more times. After this, the next major step was to dry the gels and replace all the methanol with air, but just like everything in this project, it wasn't super straightforward. I wanted to see what would happen if I just tried evaporating the methanol, and I also blew on it a bit to try to speed it up. Within a couple minutes, it had cracked all the way through, and when I tried pushing a bit on it, the whole thing just exploded. The cracking here happened really fast because I was blowing on it, but I wanted to see what would happen if I let it evaporate much slower.
It's like snow.
So I took another piece, put it into a small dish, and covered the top. Within a few hours, it already started cracking, and then over the next couple days, it cracked even more, and it also shrank a lot. The major reason why this happened was because of something called capillary action. This effect is seen with liquids in narrow tubes, where if the liquid is attracted to the walls of the tube, it will try to climb it. The same thing's occurring with the methanol and the very small pores in the gel. As the methanol evaporates at the surface, the methanol deeper in the gel tries to move up its pores and fill its place. This creates an inward pulling force on the walls of the pores, and it causes a lot of them to contract or even collapse. This also happens at different rates all over the gel, which puts uneven forces on it and causes it to crack and shrink. It was very hard, and it felt like porous and crunchy glass. What I thought was cool, though, was that it still had that slight blue haze that you see with aerogel.
Whoopsies, accidentally made meth.
Then just for fun, I added some water to it, and it started popping like crazy. After this, I let it dry, and what I was left with looked a lot like glass. However, it wasn't completely solid, and it was still very porous. But anyway, that was kind of a tangent, and the main point is that you can't just dry the gel in a normal way. It has to be done using a specialized method so that it doesn't collapse on itself. There are a couple ways to do this, but I decided to go with the most common way, which is by supercritical drying using CO2. The general idea behind this process was to first replace all the methanol in the gel with liquid CO2. The liquid CO2 is then heated until it goes supercritical, where it's kind of a mixture between a liquid and a gas. Then from there, it can be converted to just plain CO2 gas. By doing this, we're basically turning a liquid into a gas without having to evaporate it. This makes it possible to completely avoid that problem with capillary action, and the gel shouldn't collapse. The methanol here was just being used as an intermediate because the liquid CO2 isn't able to mix with water. It is technically possible, though, to make methanol go supercritical, but it's a lot more dangerous. But with all that being said, to actually do this, I had to put together a specialized supercritical dryer. And like the gel recipe, I also got the information on how to do this from aerogel.org. They have a full guide and a complete parts list, and they also have a lot of very useful information when it comes to making aerogel in general. I decided to deviate a bit from their guide though, and to build a slightly bigger chamber. The main chamber of their larger version had an inner diameter of 1.5 inches, but I decided to bump it up to 2. Almost all these pieces were pretty specialized, and I couldn't just buy them in any local hardware store. The entire thing also had to be made out of high-pressure stainless steel, which wasn't exactly cheap. And unfortunately, there wasn't much of a way around this because building it with cheaper materials, especially those not rated for high pressures, is a major safety problem. Unsuitable materials have failed and exploded and hurt people in the past, and it's not something to take lightly. But anyway, with that being said, I was able to order all these pieces online from a supplier called McMaster Car. It all arrived a few days later, and the first thing that I did was take everything out of its packaging and roughly lay it all out. I then had to connect all the pieces, and to do this, I first wrapped all the threads with Teflon tape and then screwed them all together. After this, I attached a connector for a hose to a CO2 tank, and it was almost ready to go. The last parts that I needed were sight windows that would be going on the sides. These were very specialized pieces with glass in them, which could take high temperatures and pressures and let me see what was going on inside the chamber. They weren't mandatory at all though, but it was going to make the process a lot easier, and I thought that also I might be able to get some cool footage in the chamber. This second reason was actually what mattered to me more, and it was why I built the bigger chamber in the first place. A bigger chamber meant a bigger window, and to me, that probably meant better footage. Each of these windows were unfortunately expensive, and they cost about $400 US. I was lucky though because they were in stock, which they often aren't, and they were shipped out right away. They both arrived about a week later, and I was ready to attach them to the chamber. However, to prevent leaks, they first had to be loaded up with a bunch of Teflon tape, and it was recommended on aerogel.org to wrap them 4 or 5 times. After that, I screwed them down as far as I could with my fingers, and then I used a giant socket to crank them down. It was important to use a socket here and not just a regular wrench, because the force around the window had to be applied evenly. A wrench would only have 2 main points of contact on it, and this could cause some twisting strain, which could either crack the glass or just weaken it. I also marked their starting point, so I would know how much I turned them. According to the manufacturer, it was safe to turn these up to 3 times, but I never found that I needed to go more than 1 or 1.5. After both of these were on, the chamber was pretty much done, but there was still one last thing that I needed. For this whole supercritical drying process, I needed liquid CO2, so I had to go pick up a tank of it. To the valve of it, I attached a quick release adapter, tightened it down, and snapped in the high pressure hosing. Now coming back to the pressure chamber, I snapped in the other end of the hose. I then made sure that all the valves on the chamber were closed, and I was now finally ready to test it out. I started by opening the tank, which let out liquid CO2, and it filled the hosing. I then opened the valve on the chamber, and the CO2 started rushing in. The pressure gauge also increased, and I let it max out at around 900 psi before closing it. After this, I shot all the joints with some soapy water to see if there were any leaks. I was hoping that the chamber would just be perfect and it would all magically be fine, but that definitely wasn't the case, and there were bubbles forming everywhere. Like this, it would probably still be safe to make the CO2 go supercritical in it, but it would also all just leak out and be close to useless. So of course I had to fix this, and it was actually pretty easy. All I had to do was use much thicker Teflon tape and tighten things a little bit more. To empty the chamber, I closed the CO2 tank, reopened the main valve, and then slowly turned the one at the bottom. This allowed me to vent all the CO2 that was in the system, and only after this could I safely disconnect the hosing. The tape that I used this time was the much thicker orange one, and I replaced most of the white tape in the whole setup. I then retested all the joints, and this time, it was a lot better. There was still a small amount of bubbling in some places, and to fix this, I just tightened it a bit more. After that, I tested its holding power by filling it with a bunch of liquid CO2 and leaving it for a couple days. I marked the height that it started at, and when I came back, it was only a bit lower. There was always going to be some sort of leak in the system, but as long as it maintained most of its level for at least a day, it was more than fine. After this, the chamber was finally ready, and I could do some supercritical drying. The only problem that I still had, though, was that I didn't know how I was going to be loading the gel into it. From all the tutorials and the videos that I saw, I couldn't understand how people were getting the gel inside. We saw before how fragile it was, but it seemed like everyone just threw it in and let it sit at the bottom. In my mind, there was no way that this wouldn't have damaged it. Also, there was the other problem of taking the aerogel out after it was done, which is also super fragile. I spent a long time trying to come up with a solution, and I decided to make a bent version of those things that they use to load pizzas into an oven. To make this, I just took a random piece of metal that I had lying around, and I hammered it into the rough shape that I wanted. I then used an angle grinder to shape it even more, and I finished it up on a grinding wheel. This was the final result, and it wasn't perfect, but it was honestly way better than I thought it would be. At this point, the chamber and everything about it was finally and totally done, and the gels were done as well. I'd finished cycling them all in the methanol, and I was ready to turn them into aerogel. So, I started by filling the chamber with 45 mils of methanol, and I pulled out one of the gels. I then carefully lowered it in, and I made sure that there was enough methanol to completely cover it. I wiped down all the threads to get rid of any methanol that might have been there, and I screwed on the window. Like before, I first did this as tight as I could with my fingers, and then I really cranked it down. I then carefully carried the whole thing back to the stand, and I attached the CO2 hosing. I also taped a camera to the window to film inside. When I first tried this, I used a phone because I assumed that a camera wouldn't be able to focus that close. However, the camera and lens, I found it very hard to find a decent procedure. There didn't seem to be a lot of info available, and I was only able to find a few complete ones. The one on aerogel.org was quite good, but I wasn't sure about the quality of their final aerogel. From the photos, it all definitely worked, but they looked like they had a lot of cracks, and I ideally wanted mine to be crack-free. So what I ended up doing was combining their procedure with another one that I found, and I also injected some of my own ideas. One of the biggest factors when it came to making crack-free aerogel seemed to be speed, where slower was almost always better. This was the main reason why I was adding the liquid CO2 over the course of an hour. If I added it too quickly and it mixed too much with the methanol, it could create stresses at the surface of the gel, which could cause it to crack. When it was barely over halfway full, the liquid CO2 usually stopped coming in, and to get more, I had to open this valve on the right. Doing this let some of the CO2 gas out of the chamber and lowered the pressure, and it let more liquid CO2 come in from the tank. I only opened it a very small amount, and when the chamber was eventually full, I closed it again. Then, I let it sit like this for 30 minutes. It can be a bit hard to tell here, but there are two layers where the liquid CO2 is sitting on top of the methanol. To make it more clear, I went ahead and shook it a bit, but this probably wasn't the best for the gel. For the most part, besides when I shook things, these two solvents were completely separated, and they were only slowly mixing together. It wasn't enough for them to just blend together, but a small amount of each of them was dissolving into the other. This meant that the gel was only slowly getting introduced to the CO2, which again was a good thing. When I came back 30 minutes later, they'd clearly mixed quite a bit, and the methanol layer had expanded. It was always kind of hard to tell exactly where the methanol was, but it had clearly shifted up, and the light was getting warped in a different place. They were still mostly separated though, and because methanol was more dense, it was sitting at the bottom. This was convenient because the next step was to drain it, and it meant that all I had to do was open the valve at the bottom of the chamber. This again had to be done really slowly, and the target was to do it in about 2.5 hours. When I stopped seeing methanol dripping out, the CO2 in the chamber was just above the gel, and I closed the valve. When I was done, I checked how much methanol I had, and it was about 40 mils. I started with 45 mils though, so there was still some methanol mixed in with the CO2 in the chamber. Some of the methanol also probably got vaporized as it came out and just went into the air. So for this reason, it was really important to do this in a well-ventilated area to avoid breathing in a bunch of methanol. I refilled it, again slowly, over the course of about 30 minutes, and I brought it up above the window. Then after that, I let it sit overnight, and I waited for the methanol that was still in the gel to slowly get swapped for the CO2. When I came back the next day,
very important
it looked pretty much the
make
same,
aerogel in
and I opened the
Subnautica.
valve at the bottom. I collected everything, but this time, it was mostly CO2. I was getting mostly dry ice, which was forming as the liquid CO2 was leaving the valve. Under normal atmospheric pressure, liquid CO2 can't exist, so as it left the chamber, it jumped to being a solid. When I got the level down just above the gel, I refilled it in the exact same way as before, and left it overnight. This time, after all the dry ice had disappeared, I had just a couple mils of methanol in the beaker. The basic goal here was to keep repeating this process over and over until I didn't see anything in the beaker, and then to do it one last time. In total, I usually had to do this 3 or 4 times, which meant that I soaked it overnight 3 or 4 times. I started this run on Sunday, and it was only by Thursday that it was ready. After all this, the gel should be filled with only liquid CO2 and no methanol, and definitely no water. I was finally ready to actually supercritically dry it, so I closed all the valves on the chamber, and I closed the tank itself. Now, to supercritically dry the gel, the general idea was really simple. Almost all I had to do was heat it up and push the liquid CO2 into the supercritical state. With CO2, this thankfully happened at a low temperature, and it was barely above room temperature at around 31°C. For this part, I used a heat gun, and I carefully blasted the chamber. Almost all of the heat was focused on the largest section, and a small amount was on the small cross. For safety reasons, it was important not to heat any of the valves. The main goal here was to get it to 31°C, but as it got hotter, the pressure also increased. I had to make sure that by the time it got to 31°C, that the pressure was just below 1100 psi, but this was a bit tricky. The amount that the pressure increased all depended on how much liquid CO2 I started with. The more CO2 there was, the more the pressure would increase, and it was always slightly different between runs. If it ended up going too high, I would have had to relieve the pressure by opening a valve, but what I started with turned out to be pretty close to perfect. To prevent the gel from cracking, I also first brought it up to 28°C, held it there for 20 minutes, and then brought it up to 31. This whole part took about 45 minutes, and during this time, the surface of the CO2 was constantly changing. The boundary between the liquid CO2 and the gas above it started out as being very evident, but it slowly disappeared. This was because as the temperature and the pressure increased, there was less and less of a difference between the density of the gas and the density of the liquid. The CO2 gas in there was getting denser, and the liquid was expanding and getting less dense. Eventually, at the supercritical point of 31°C, these two phases of CO2 had the same density, and they were able to mix together. This new mixture was supercritical CO2, and it had properties that were a combination of a liquid and a gas. It was able to dissolve stuff like a liquid, but it was also able to diffuse and to move around like a gas. The most important property, though, was that as a supercritical fluid, it had effectively no surface tension. And without a surface tension, this meant that it wasn't possible to have capillary action, and we shouldn't have that problem with the gel trying to crush itself. It was a lot harder to see in the chamber than I expected, and the supercritical transition was honestly not as clear as I hoped it would be. On my second channel, though, I did a much more in-depth video about supercritical CO2 in general. I also did it in something that made it a lot easier to see what was going on, and if you're interested in checking it out, there's a link in the description. But anyway, after reaching the supercritical point, it wasn't even close to being done. I still had to heat it a lot more and push the CO2 further into the supercritical region. This had to be done extremely slowly and carefully by only raising it by a few degrees and then waiting 20 or 30 minutes. Doing this as slow as possible was very important because it was the best way to avoid cracking the gel. Even though all the CO2 in the gel was supercritical, when it's heated up, it still expands, and if it's done too quickly, it would just break it. This was the scheme that I tried to follow, where each temperature interval was held for at least 20 minutes. As the temperature increased, so did the pressure, and at 39 and 53°C, I had to carefully open the valve on the right and vent some of the CO2. I eventually got it to 60°C, and at this point, everything in the chamber was well above the critical point and deep in the supercritical region. If I did everything right, the gel would hopefully still be uncracked, and it would be filled evenly with hot supercritical CO2. What I had to do next was the last and most important step, and that was to get rid of all the CO2. To do this, I just had to open the valve and vent it, but it had to be done very carefully. If the pressure dropped too quickly, the pressure outside in the gel could become less than the inside, and it could cause it to explode or crack. So I opened this valve almost as little as I possibly could, and I slowly depressurized it. As the pressure decreased, all the CO2 in the chamber gradually moved out of the supercritical area. All the CO2 though was still quite hot, so instead of turning back into liquid CO2, it was all going back into regular CO2 gas. As a gas, it also has no surface tension, and it should be able to leave the gel without causing any damage. It took an hour and a half to completely depressurize it, and over this time, I had to constantly check on it and adjust the valve. When the pressure was eventually at 0, I completely opened the valve, took away the camera, and removed the hosing. I brought it all over to my vise and unscrewed the window, and now it was time to see if all this work was worth it. As I pulled it out, it didn't look like it had shrank or anything, which was definitely a good sign. So at the very least, I had made some sort of aerogel. When I got it out more though, I noticed that there were, unfortunately, at least a few major cracks in it. But despite this, I was still pretty happy with how it turned out. I mean, it wasn't even close to being perfect, but for my first attempt, I thought it was pretty good. From all this though, my main conclusion was that this process kind of sucked. It took about 4 days just to prepare the gel in the chamber, and then it took an entire day just for the supercritical part. It was also very labor intensive, and I had to babysit it the entire time, and I couldn't really do anything else. Also, on top of this, using a heat gun wasn't really ideal because it was only able to get one side of the chamber. I unfortunately wasn't able to see the gel the whole time, so I don't have a lot of proof of this, but I feel like it was just this supercritical step that really caused the gel to crack. I wanted to try doing it again, but instead of just doing the same thing, I decided to try something new. This time, I didn't use a heat gun, and I instead bought a sous vide meat cooker. This thing was originally meant to cook things like steak, but I felt that it would be perfect here. It had a built-in temperature controller, so all I had to do was put the chamber in the water with it, and then click a button. So to get this started, I loaded the chamber with a hexagon this time, and I repeated the same exchange steps using the liquid CO2. When it was done, I lowered the entire chamber into a tub of water, and I attached the sous vide cooker. I then added as much water as I could, but I was only able to cover half of the main chamber. This was fine though, because the part where the gel was completely covered, as well as a decent portion above it. This would give me good temperature control and consistency in the part that it mattered the most. Even though the upper part wasn't in the water, it would still heat up because the whole thing was made of metal. However, it would also lose a lot of heat to the air, which wasn't good. To try and fix this, I loosely covered the whole thing with aluminum foil, which would help hold an insulating pocket of air. This wasn't a perfect solution, but it would let the top part roughly match the temperature of the bottom, and that was all I needed. After this, I was ready to get things going, and all I had to do was turn on the cooker. This entire process in terms of heating was similar to what I did with the heat gun. I had to keep raising it by a few degrees, and then waiting about 20 minutes. However, this time, the major difference was that I barely had to do anything. I just occasionally clicked on the cooker a few times to turn up the temperature, and that was it. What was interesting was that without the camera right against the window, the supercritical part looked a lot different. For some reason, when the camera was super close, it wasn't possible to see the blue haze that it made at the supercritical point. Unfortunately though, I didn't plan to film any of this, and everything here was just done last minute using my phone. What was also weird was that at some point, it all turned orange inside the chamber, but there was no orange light anywhere. Then, as it got further past the supercritical point, this color slowly disappeared. I vented it at 46 and 53°C, and I eventually got the temperature up to 62. Once it was there, I didn't need the hot water anymore, and I pulled out the chamber. I was now able to get a decent angle to look inside, but I was only able to see a small part of the gel. It was completely uncracked, which was a very good sign, but I had no idea what the other part of it looked like. To get rid of all the CO2, I just opened the valve and I vented it over the course of an hour and a half. I also used a screwdriver to help turn the valve a lot more precisely. As I vented it, I kept looking at the gel, and it looked the same even after all the CO2 was gone. After seeing that, I honestly started to get really excited, but again, it was just a small portion of the gel, and I tried to not get my hopes up too much. Now that it was empty, I carried the whole thing over to my vise. I then unscrewed the window, and I took a look inside.
I like what I see.
Oh.
Look at that.
And well, I guess my hopes weren't destroyed. From what I could tell, it was completely uncracked, and I could honestly barely believe it. I really did think that this one would be cracked as well, and I thought that it was just going to be a bit less than the last one. What I had here, though, in my opinion, was about as close to perfect as it could have possibly been. It was slightly yellow, though, and I'm not sure if this was because of the recipe that I used, or because the gel was really old. I originally made them back in November, and this run was done in March, so they weren't exactly fresh. My personal opinion is that it's probably from the recipe and not the age, but I don't have any real evidence to prove that. Either way though, I finally did it. I started working on this project back in July, and it has taken a long time to fix all the problems and to get all the supplies. I was extremely lucky that it worked after just 2 real attempts, but it took months and months of constantly reading stuff and trying little things. I was really happy with the final result, and the only issue that I saw were some small bubbles in it, but those were from when I made the original gel. I didn't think they'd be visible in the final aerogel, but I mean, they obviously were. In the future, I might try to fix that, and I also might try to modify the chamber so that I can load more gels.
Hello.
In my opinion, even with the sous vide cooker, it was still way too much work just to dry 1, and I'm convinced there's a way to do up to 4. However, for now, I'm a bit tired of thinking and working on aerogel, and that probably won't happen for another year. Now, on a bit more of a personal note, projects like these kind of destroy my soul. They can take months of work to film and just finish the project, and then it usually takes at least a couple weeks to edit it all together. This isn't at all a complaint though, because they're always worth it in the end, but for over a year now, I've felt like I need to work on some smaller and less serious projects. I've also felt like I wanted to show more of what goes on behind the scenes, because there's so much more happening that the camera never captures.
Venom. Okay, yeah, I think we got it. I think we can finally make some aerogel now. I bet y'all forgot I was playing Subnautica. I don't know why I did that. I don't know why I fucking did that. God, I'm stupid. Yeah, we can make aerogel now. Go make some aerogel. Let me use my prawn suit. I hate you. Okay. once I found that vein of diamonds. Ah, here it is, I think. Yep, here it is. If there's that thing.
Warning, passing 100 meters. Oxygen efficiency decreased.
Gold. It's been like ages since I've been back down here. I don't even need silver. No, I don't need silver. Get out of my life. Actually, I might need titanium. Give. Anything, cunt? Anything related to diamonds? Ugh. There's something over here. Perhaps.
Warning, 30 seconds of oxygen remaining.
I could probably break out of the map right here. Maybe. Maybe.
Warning, 30 seconds of oxygen remaining.
Like me punching your rocks? I'll go get a rock puncher from over there. Oh wait, that's not it. Where is it? Yeah, over there I'll get a fucking rock puncher and they'll fucking kick your ass. Bitch. You know, diamond is supposed to be rare, but not this fucking rare. God damn. My back hurts. titanium out here? Why is there titanium? Was I out here before? Ah, I see something shiny. That's lithium. I don't need lithium right now. Silver. Can't like one of these be a lithium? Or not lithium, but diamond. One of these. Just a purple thing.
Seek fluid intake.
Hush. Chalicerate. Oh, there's a rock puncher over here too. Cool, I guess. Tempiero. Puncher. I was already down here. Cunt! Fight this fucking Chalicerate, but I know that wouldn't be good. Yeah, now you're fucking dead. I want to fight the Chalicerate. I kinda don't, but I kinda do. Chat, should I go fight the Chalicerate? Should I go fucking fist fight the thing? He's like over here somewhere. I remember correctly. Should I go fight the Chalicerate, chat? I want to get the drill arm and then go fight it. Look at this guy, watch this. Dead. I didn't even take no damage. Chat, I'm waiting on an answer. Should I go fight the Chalicerate? Come on, chat. Chat doesn't care about me fighting a Chalicerate. Going this way.
Seek fluid intake immediately.
Welcome aboard, Captain.
I still need to go find aerogel. Ooh, my Chinese potato is grown. Wonderful. The hoopfish knows that I discriminate. Come here, bitch. Come here, bitch. Come here, bitch.
Seek fluid immediately.
Come here, bitch. Come here, bitch. How many do I have? Good enough. Yeah, come here, bitch. I was gonna catch that motherfucker, you dick. Ugh. Water. Beaver.
Vital signs stabilizing.
How's this one doing? Need 3 more. I have 1 more diamond. How much does it take to make? Where did it go? How much does it take to make an emerald glass? It just takes 1. So I could potentially make you. I could. I really could. Where the fuck else am I gonna find diamonds? I can get them from sea monkeys, ore veins, large resource deposits, and seabeds. Arctic Spire. I can find them at the Arctic Spires? Damn. Cool. Crystal Caves, deep twisty bridges, Delta Islands, or Delta Island. East Arctic, Glacial Basin, Kappa Mining Site, Thermal Spires, Thermal Spire Caves, Tree Spires, Fissure, West Arctic. Oh! I didn't know that! I'm gonna get rid of you, and get rid of you. Because apparently, that's how sea monkeys work, I think, now. They can give you shit for stuff that you have over here. Oh! That's funny! That is cool. I like that. That's cool. I don't care though. I'm going to go to the mining site, which is down over there.
Welcome aboard, Captain.
That's not even where it is. Where is it? It's over here. See if I can find some at the mining site. Bitching this. That's where I piss off. again? Well, now you're dead. Not entirely sure what you were expecting there, buddy. I wonder if I can find diamonds down here, maybe. Can I get my bronze suit in here? Nope. Probably not healthy.
Seek fluid intake.
Ah, there's a fucking vein right there. Fuck yeah. That's 2. We need like 2 more. Whatever. Get my brown suit. I can't entirely tell what you're trying to accomplish with that. But whatever. I think this is it. Yep. Lights. There. That I am in here. Ooh, mining or diamond. Mining away. Rubies and there's gold, titanium, more titanium.
Seek fluid intake immediately.
Shut. I'll tell you when I need fluid intake, bitch. Alright, come on. More diamonds.
Warning.
That's right,
Passing
scuttle away,
100 meters.
bitch ass.
Oxygen efficiency decreased.
Oh, hey, Parvin. Can I get you to sign off here?
What is all this?
I don't know. Some kind of measuring equipment? Lil said she'd send someone over to set it up later.
Ah, alien science nonsense.
I wouldn't say that. You should ask her to show you some of her findings. Pretty interesting stuff. There might really be someone down there.
You ask me, scientists have too much control over here.
What?
I'm serious. Look around you. This mining facility extracts every mineral your scientists use to make their equipment. Their bases, their scanners, even your little sea trucks.
I wouldn't call them little.
Do you know the name of a single person who works down here?
Well, I know you, Parvin.
Ah, tell Lillian she's wasting her time. There's nothing down here but workers, and we already know we don't spark her curiosity.
Fucker! This fucking diamond right here. There's a ton of it. I wonder if I can just punch it. See if that'll make a difference. How much diamond? I only have one. I have a lot of ruby though. Anything?
Fluid intake.
I'm gonna die down here. Right there. Ooh, fuck. Oh, I lost that one. Ah, you cunt. I lost the one fucking diamond. Ah, you cunt. I lost the one fucking diamond. God damn it. I'm gonna go just over there with my sea moth. You cunt. Ow. Actually, let me go ahead and bring my sea truck. What time is it? Fuck, it's 10. How long have I been going for? I'd say about 3 hours. Haven't gotten barely jack shit done. So, yeah. Oh, God, I'm tired. Yeah, I think I might call it. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you like my new lighting setup. I really want to get some backlight of like some blue LED shit or something. That would be awesome. But otherwise, I think that's it. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. And I'll go ahead and save this. I will go ahead and see you guys in the next stream. Bye, bitch!